Let us chant the next verse. Verse number 5. Ajñānakaluṣaṁ jīvaṁ jñānābhyāsād vinirmalam kṛtvā jñānam svayaṁ naśyet jalaṁ katakareṇuvat. Ajñānakaluṣaṁ jīvaṁ. This jiva, this individual who is defiled by ignorance. So what he has to do? Jnānābhyāsād, by the practice of jnana. Jnānābhyāsam. Now what is this jnānābhyāsa? So at present, I have this firm wrong notion in me that I am this body. This sense of individuality is strong in me. This is called as ajñāna. I don't know myself. I think myself to be the body. This notion in the mind is called ignorance. So what should you do to remove this ignorance? 3 stages. One is Shravana, second is Manana, and the third one is Nididhyasana. So Shravana, the first thing is you are exposed to this knowledge. And what is this knowledge? You are not the body, you are pure consciousness. Somebody has to tell us. Otherwise we will never know. So Shravana means listening to the teachings of the scriptures, listening to Guru. Guru Upadesha. So you are not this body, you are the consciousness which is witnessing this body. So what is the second statement? What is the statement brought by the scriptures? I am not body, I am consciousness. So what is jnana abhyasa? So first of all, you have to clear all the doubts. Using the logic given by the scriptures, you clear all the doubts, and that is the process of mananam. Doubts are cleared. Then you do nididhyasanam. What do you do in nididhyasanam? The wrong thinking is replaced by the right understanding. Wrong notion has to be replaced by right understanding. So this wrong notion has got deep into our personality to such an extent that it has become our nature to think ourselves to be the body. It has become a habit. It is very deep rooted. A particular thought is there in our mind that I am this and this much alone. I am this body. This thought has gained deep root in our mind. So how to remove this wrong thought? Wrong thought has to be replaced by the right understanding, which is also a kind of thought only. And what is the thought? I am not this body, I am consciousness. This is called jnana abhyasa. Every time the wrong thought comes, replace it by the right understanding. Make it a habit. Make it a habit to know yourself, to identify yourself with consciousness. And how is habit made? By repeated practice. That repeated practice is what is called as jnana abhyasam. Keep on doing it, and slowly, what will happen? You will take yourself to be consciousness functioning through the body. Body is not given importance. What is given importance? Consciousness is given importance. Now, here a question is raised. The question is, see, you are replacing the wrong thought by right understanding. But that right understanding is also a kind of thought. So in short, you are replacing wrong thought with a right thought. But still, that knowledge is also a thought. How can a mere thought be called knowledge? If it is a mere thought, then during sleep you will lose everything. Only in the waking state you will be benefited. In the dream and deep sleep state, this thought will go away. Because any thought cultivated will go in the dream and deep sleep state. So how can you call it absolute knowledge? So here Bhagavan is clarifying that doubt. What does Bhagavan say? No doubt you are right. But here, this right understanding, which is a kind of thought, it replaces the wrong thought, but after replacing, even this right understanding also goes away. It no more remains as a thought. Ajñānakaluṣaṁ jīvaṁ jñāna abhyāsād vinirmalam kṛtvā jñānaṁ svayaṁ naśyet. This knowledge, after having destroyed the wrong notion in the mind, gets destroyed itself. So the right thinking destroys the wrong thinking, and the right thinking also get destroyed by itself. Now what does it mean? See, what is wrong thinking? The notion that I am this body. Right? It's a thought in the mind. What is right thinking? I am consciousness. Now, the wrong thinking is replaced by the right thinking. Now what is the thinking? I am consciousness is the thinking. Now the question is, to know yourself as consciousness, do you need thoughts? Do you need thoughts to know yourself as consciousness? No. I am conscious, I am aware. Consciousness has nothing to do with thoughts. Consciousness is an independent entity which need not take the support of thoughts to make itself present. You cannot think of consciousness. You can only be conscious. Are you able to get it? It's a subtle thought. I am consciousness, you use that thought, and slowly you drop that thought and only remain as consciousness. You take the support of the thought. Which thought? It's called as Brahmakara Vritti. I am Brahman. Aham Brahmasmi. You take that support, and slowly what happens? You start feeling it to such an extent that you need not think about it. Now you are not thinking, you are experiencing. When you are experiencing, you need not think. Thought is no more necessary. The experience of consciousness need not have the support of the thoughts. So in the process what happens? The right thought destroys the wrong thought, and the right thought also goes away. Now what alone remains? Consciousness alone remains. Mind also goes away. What remains is only consciousness. To make it clear, one example is given. What is example? Jalaṁ kataka-reṇuvat. Like water into which kataka-reṇu has been put. Reṇu means dust. Kataka is a nut of a particular tree. It's a nut. So in olden days, during the rainy season, the water would become muddy. So how to remove that mud from the water? So that mud is in a suspended state. The whole water is muddy. So what they used to do is, they used to take this kataka-nut and then powder it. This powder they would put upon the water. So what happens to this powder? This powder, they attach themselves to the suspended mud particles. And when it attaches, what happens to the weight? It becomes heavier, and because it becomes heavy, it goes down and settles down as sediments. So what has happened to water now? It has become pure. All the suspended particles, they get attached to this dust of kataka nut, and then they become sediments. Already a wrong notion is there in the form of thought. You bring another thought, destroy that thought, and both the thoughts are gone. What remains is only consciousness. Wrong thought is destroyed by the right thought, and the right thought automatically gets destroyed once you start experiencing your true identity. This is exactly what jnānābhyāsād does. So in the beginning, there is this ignorance that I am this body. So at the seat of meditation, what do? You bring in this thought. All the Vedantic thoughts are brought in so that non-Vedantic thoughts are destroyed, replaced. It is substituted by the Vedantic thought. Every thought has to happen in the mind. Now this Vedantic thought, by remaining there, destroys the non-Vedantic thought, and finally what remains? Vedantic thought also goes away. What remains is only consciousness. When you say, I am consciousness, first you take the help of a thought, and finally when you start experiencing consciousness, that thought also drops away. Verse number 11. nānopādhivaśādeva jātivarṇāśramādayaḥ ātmanyāropitāstoye rasavarṇādibhedavat nānā upādhivaśād eva. It is only because of nānā upādhis, various kinds of conditionings, that consciousness appears to be many. How? An example is given. Rasavarṇādibhedavat toye. Water is only one, but we call this water as different names, based on rasa, taste, based on varna, color, etc. Adi. Water is actually tasteless. Water is actually odorless. Water is actually colorless. But then we attribute all these properties to water, isn't it? Sweet water, salty water, fragrant water, colored water. Actually, water has no color or odor, etc. But we attribute those properties to water. In the same way, this Atma is actually propertyless. But then we attribute properties to it. In what way? jātivarṇāśramādayaḥ, etc. Jati means what? Caste. Varna means color. Ashrama, station in life. So he is a Brahmana jati, he is a Vaishya jati, Shudra jati, Kshatriya jati. Actually that jati belongs to whom? The body, not to the Atma. Atma is pure, Satchit Ananda. Or Varna, color of the body. He is dark, she is fair, whatever. So all these properties, they don't belong to Atma, it belongs only to the conditioning. Again, ashrama. What is ashrama? Brahmacharya ashrama, grihastha ashrama, vanaprastha, sannyasa ashrama. These ashramas also don't belong to the Atma. They're all different conditionings. And what happens through conditioning? Our attention is more upon the conditionings than the content. All the problems that we see in the society, all the problems are because our attention is upon the conditioning and not upon the content. What is the content? Atma is the content. And what is the nature of Atma? It is Sat, Chit, Anand. Look at ourselves. What is it that we clearly experience? We experience Sat, existence. Yes or no? We experience existence. Yes. We experience consciousness. Yes or no? Yes. This is a common experience in each and every one of us. We exist, we are conscious of our existence. This alone is the truth. The rest, everything is a projection of the mind. What are the projections? I am a man, I am a woman. I am a Brahmana, I am a Kshatriya, whatever. These are all the concepts formed by the mind. These are all the imaginations of the mind. I am a grihastha-ashrami, I am a sannyasi. Again, it's a concept of the mind. What is the reality? Existence, consciousness. This is what we experience. The rest, everything is a superimposition. The rest, everything is an imagination of the mind. And therefore, it is not true. So what does Bhagavan say? Pay attention to what actually exists. What you imagine is not what is the truth. What you experience is the truth. All the problems in the society is only because of these concepts made by the human minds. In what sense? With respect to Atma, with respect to existence, consciousness, we are all one. Yes, with respect to imaginations, we are all different. So what does Bhagavan say? Pay attention to the content, not to the conditionings. Now again, this conditioning in a shastric way. How these conditionings are defined in the scriptures, that topic is taken up in the next 3 verses. Bhagavan says these conditionings are of type 3. One is Sthula Sharira, Sukshma Sharira, Karana Sharira. These are the 3 conditionings, and this Atma is different from the 3 conditionings. So let us chant verse number 12, which talks about Sthula Sharira. pañcīkṛta-mahābhūta-sambhavaṁ karma-sañcitam śarīraṁ sukha-duḥkhānāṁ bhogāyatanam ucyate. Yes. So this verse talks about the gross body, or what is called as Sthula Sharira. So earlier in Atma Bodha, we have seen these topics in lot of detail. Those who want greater details in it, refer Atma Bodha and Viveka Chudamani. So here briefly we will go through what it is. So what is this gross body? Gross body or Sthula Sharira is the physical body which we see. It is called Sthula. Why is it called Sthula? It is called Sthula because it is perceived by our senses. You can see, you can hear, smell, taste, touch, etc. This physical body is called Sthula Sharira because it is perceived by our sense organs. What is it made of? So it is written, pañcīkṛta-mahābhūta-sambhavaṁ. It is born out of, it is made of. What is it made of? Pancha-mahābhūtas, 5 elements. What kind of pancha-mahābhūtas? pañcīkṛta-mahābhūta. Those elements which have undergone pañcīkṛta. Have you heard of pañcīkṛta anywhere? Atma Bodha, yes. So, those elements which have undergone pañcīkṛta. In short, gross 5 elements. This physical body is made of gross 5 elements. What are the 5 elements? Space, air, fire, water, earth. The process of pañcīkṛta is described in Atma Bodha. Briefly we will go through. So when creation begins, the creation has to begin from the unmanifest to the manifest, from the subtle to the gross. So how does it happen? So first we have Pancha Mahabhutas which are in the subtle form, Sukshma form. So air, water, fire, earth, etc., they are in their purest form which cannot be perceived. So then they undergo what is called as pañcīkṛta. So what happens in pañcīkṛta? Each element divides itself into 2. One part, one half is kept to itself, the other part is divided into 4 further, and each part goes and mixes with the other. So after the process, you will find in every element there is 50% of itself, 12.5% of all the other elements, 1/8 portion of other elements. So for example, once pañcīkṛta happens, Akasha will have 50% of Akasha, 12.5% of Vayu, 12.5% of Agni, 12.5% of Jala, and 12.5% of Prithvi. In this way, other elements also. So this process is called pañcīkṛta. So what happens after pañcīkṛta? The subtle 5 elements, they become gross 5 elements. Gross 5 elements mean the elements which we see around. So it is not in its purest form, it has a mix of all the other elements. So this physical body is made up of gross 5 elements. And that is why we are able to see it. pañcīkṛta-mahābhūta-sambhavaṁ. Okay. Why is it made? Karma-sañcitam. Actually, this body is tailor-made. Tailor-made means what? Our own past actions as a karma phala has given this body to us. This body has come because of our past actions. So karma-sañcitam means karma-nirmitam, created by our own karma. Every being, not only human beings. If karmas are papa karmas, then animal body is given, bird, insect, all those bodies are given. If actions are punya karmas, then devata body is given. If the actions are of mixed type, punya karma is also there, papa karma is also there, then they say the human body is given. So depending upon our karmas, we are given different bodies. So it is our own creation, created by our action. But what is the function of this body? The function of this body is śarīraṁ sukha-duḥkhānāṁ bhogāyatanam ucyate. This body is an abode of residence. So in this body, the jivas reside. Why does the jiva reside here? So that sukha-duḥkhānāṁ bhogāyatanam, in order to experience sukha and dukkha. So residing in this body, the jivatma, he goes through sukha and dukkha. If punya karma, then sukha. If papa karma, then dukkha. So sukha and dukkha he goes through. So he has to remain somewhere. There has to be some house where he can dwell. So this body is a house where he dwells. It's a rented house. What is the rent he has to pay? Going through the karma phala is the rent. And once all the prarabdha karmas are exhausted, this residence is dropped. So what is this physical body? It is bhogāyatanam, abode of residence. All these details we had seen in Atma Bodha. So this is called sthula sharira. Why are we discussing this? We are discussing to say that this Atma is not sthula sharira. It is different from this body. Now we come to sukshma sharira. What is sukshma sharira? Verse number 13. Pancha prana mano buddhi dashendriya samanvitam apañcīkṛta-bhūtottham sukshmāngam bhoga-sadhanam. Yes. Now comes sukshma sharira. What is this sukshma sharira? In English we call it as subtle body. S-U-B-T-L-E, body. Subtle body. So what is this subtle body? With what is it made of? Sukshma sharira is made up of sukshma pancha-mahābhūtas. Apañcīkṛta-bhūtottham. Those pancha-mahābhūtas which have not undergone pañcīkṛta, meaning subtle 5 elements. So therefore, can we see it? It cannot be seen. It cannot be perceived by our senses. So therefore, we cannot see the mind of others. We can only see the physical body. We will not be able to see the mind. Why? Because the mind is made up of subtle elements. That which is subtle cannot be perceived by the gross senses. So, apañcīkṛta-bhūtottham. What is this sukshma sharira? What are the components? Pancha prana, manas, buddhi and dashendriyas. 10 indriyas. What are the 10 indriyas? Again, reference Atma Bodha. Pancha jnanendriya and then pancha karmendriyas. What are the pancha jnanendriyas? The organ of hearing, the organ of touch, the organ of seeing, the organ of smell, the organ of taste. These are the pancha jnanendriyas. What are the pancha karmendriyas? Hands, legs, tongue, genital organ, anus. So these are the pancha karmendriyas. So together 10. Now please keep this in mind. We are not talking of the physical thing, eyes, ears, etc. Because remember, it is sukshma sharira. Sukshma sharira means what? Which cannot be known through our senses. What you see here is golaka. The physical ear, physical eye, that they are not called indriyas, they are called as golakas. When we are saying hands, legs, etc., we are not talking of physical hands. What are we talking of? The abilities. We are not talking of physical hands. Physical hand is called golaka, not indriya. When we are talking of Indriya, Indriya means the subtle power behind each organ because of which that organ is capable of functioning. For example, eyes are able to see. That subtle power in the eyes because of which the eye is able to see is called as Indriyas. That is why it is Sukshma. Getting it? The physical eye is called Golaka. The power in the eyes to see is called Indriyas. So in the same way, the power to see, the power to hear, the power to taste, the power to smell, these subtle, invisible powers are called as Indriyas. Keep this in mind. Plus, Pancha Pranas. What are the Pancha Pranas? Prana, Apana, Vyana, Udana, Samana. Pancha Pranas. So what are these pranas? The whole body functions because of energy. That system which energizes the body is called prana. Sometimes we also use the term pranic energy, you must have heard. So that which gives energy to the body is called prana. It is like the battery for the body. It is like the fuel for the vehicle. You must have seen the fuel indicator. So there is a fuel indicator in the vehicle. Whenever the fuel is low, the fuel indicator indicates to us and wants us to refuel. Similarly, in mobile phones, we see that charge indicator. In our body also, such indicators are present. So when the energy level goes down in our body, the prana gives the warning signal. And the refueling signal comes in the form of hunger and thirst. Hunger and thirst are the functions of prana. So when we eat food, the food goes to the stomach for digestion. The digestive system is called samana vayu. It converts food into energy. That prana which converts food into energy is called samana vayu. So samana vayu can be called as digestive system. Once the food has been converted to energy, this energy has to be supplied throughout the body. This circulation of energy throughout the body is done by vyana vayu. It supplies the energy throughout the body, through the blood. So vyana vayu is called circulatory system. Now in this process, blood is carrying energy throughout the body. Now in this process, the blood becomes impure. So the blood has to be purified. This purification process is done by pranavayu, the respiratory system. In respiration, carbon dioxide is thrown out and oxygen is taken in. Thus the blood is purified by pranavayu, the respiratory system. Now, after the food is digested, the waste material has to be thrown out. That is done by apanavayu or excretory system. Apanavayu. Up means to go down. In Sanskrit, up means to go down. So that which goes down from the navel to down below is called apana. Apana vayu. Now there is one more vayu called udana vayu. It is called as reversing system. It is operated only during emergency conditions. For example, suppose if we eat something and if it doesn't gel with our system, then it has to be vomited out. It has to be thrown out of the system. Udana vayu does it for us. Ut means up. So udana means that which functions upwards. So udana vayu is called reversing system. Whenever the dust enters into the nose, sneezing comes. Sneezing also is a function of udana vayu. Whenever dust particle enters into eyes, immediately that dust particle is flushed out through water, tears. That also is done by udana vayu. Burping is done by udana vayu. It is a reverse process. Not only this, there is another function also which udana vayu does. every cell, when it becomes old, it has to be replaced by the new cell. So this replacement also is done by the Udana Vayu. So the growth process, asti, jayate, vardhate, as the body grows, replacement has to be done. All these are done by Udana Vayu. And finally, at the time of death, the subtle body leaves the gross body. For this leaving, there has to be an ejectory process. It has to eject. That power to eject also comes from Udana Vayu. So these are the Pancha Pranas. Prana, Apana, Vyana, Udana, Samana. Their names are also given according to their function. For example, Prana is respiratory system. An means movement. So all these pranas have got an in the end. Pran, Vyan, Udan, Saman, etc. The last one is an. An means movement. So depending upon the direction of movement, the name is given. Pra means upward higher movement. So from the navel upwards. So that is why it is called prana, respiratory system. So inhalation, exhalation, respiration. This is upward movement, prana. Apana, up means downward. From the navel downwards towards the genital, anus, etc. So this is downward. That is why the name given apana. Vyana, V means, vyapti, pervasion, to pervade everywhere. So thus, Vyana means circulation, circulatory system. Prana, Apana, Vyana, Udana. Ut means sudden upward movement is called Ut. For example, Utthana, to get up suddenly, is called Utthana. Ut means sudden upward movement. So therefore, Udana Vayu does that upward motion. Prana, Apana, Vyana, Udana. Last one is Samana. Sam means remaining the same place. Remaining in the same place. So what does the Samana Vayu do? Remaining in the stomach, it converts food into energy. So these are the Pancha Pranas, the physiological system. If you can make all these pranas, the Pancha Prana, very strong, your body will remain healthy. Because all the physiological functions, when it happens smoothly, body remains healthy. So what is the way in which you can keep this prana strong? Through pranayama. Yes. So how many total now? 15 plus mano buddhi plus 2. Mana, mind, buddhi, intellect. So 10 senses, pancha jnanendriyas, pancha karmendriyas, pancha pranas, and manas and buddhi. So totally 17. So this sukshma sharira is composed of 17 components. What is the function of the sukshma sharira? Sukshmangam bhoga sadhanam. It is the instrument of experiencing. Sthula sharira is the abode of experience, the house of experience, whereas the sukshma sharira is the instrument of experience. Through that instrument you experience. So suppose sthula sharira is there and no sukshma sharira, will you experience? No. Can you give an example? When you are in deep sleep, sukshma sharira is not there, only sthula sharira is there. So even when somebody touches you, you are not aware, because the instrument is missing. Or in a dead body. In a dead body, sthula sharira is there, sukshma sharira is not there. Again, perception doesn't take place. So the sukshma sharira is called the instrument of experience. Sthula sharira is the abode or the house of experience. So this jiva remaining in the body experiences sukha and dukkha through the sukshma sharira. So we have seen sthula and sukshma. Now the third one, which is called as karana sharira. Again we are discussing all this for what? To say that I am not this. I am not my physical body and I am not my mind intellect also. I am different from sukshma sharira and sthula sharira. Now the third one is karana sharira. Verse number 14. Anadya vidya nirvachya karanopādhis ucyate upādhis-tretayādanyam ātmanamavadhārayet. Yes. Karanopadhirucyate. This is called karanopadhi or karana sharira. So what is English translation for karana sharira? Not casual body, causal body. Causal, C-A-U-S-A-L, causal body. Why is it called causal body? It is called causal because it is the cause of the other two. It is the karana of the other two. From this body come the other two bodies. Sukshma and sthula shariras, they come from the karana sharira. So what is this karana sharira? It is nothing but the seed form of the entire individual. The entire personality put in a seed form is this karana sharira. So what is its nature? It is of the nature of anadi avidya. It is of the nature of beginningless ignorance. This individual is born out of ignorance. What exists is only Satchit Ananda Atma, but out of ignorance, this Satchit Ananda Atma considers itself to be a limited, finite entity. So what is the birth of the individual? What is the cause of the birth? The cause of birth is ignorance. Avidya. When did this ignorance begin? This is the question normally asked. Which is the first birth? When was I first born? Because every time we say, because of karma you got this body. But when was this karma done? It was done in the previous birth. But why that previous birth? It was because of the previous karma. So again it goes on and on. When was the first birth? So then first birth is anadi, beginningless. Now we may ask, why beginningless? This is beginningless because let us assume that it has a beginning. Let us assume avidya has a beginning. Avidya means ignorance. Let us assume at a particular time avidya began. So before that time, what should be there? What is the opposite of avidya? Vidya, knowledge. Now if you assume that knowledge was there and then at a particular time ignorance began, that is meaningless. Because from knowledge, ignorance cannot come. Isn't it? So what is the only possible logical explanation? Ignorance has to be beginningless. Because it cannot come from knowledge. So therefore we say anadi avidya. So this karana sharira is of the nature of anadi avidya. It is of the nature of ignorance. The beginningless ignorance. So though it is beginningless, it is not endless. When will it end? When will avidya end? Avidya ends with vidya, isn't it? Only vidya can put an end to avidya. So though it is beginningless, it is not endless. Anadi avidya and anirvachya. Anirvachya means indescribable. You can't describe it. Why you can't describe it? You can't describe it because for any description, how do you describe a thing? You describe a thing as existent or non-existent, isn't it? It exists, it doesn't exist. This is how you describe. Now the strange thing about this avidya is, neither you can put it as absolute existence, nor can you put it in the category of non-existence. Why? Can you say it exists? You can't say, because when vidya comes, avidya is gone. So it has no absolute existence. Absolute existence should exist all the time. It doesn't. Now can you say it is non-existent? You can't say non-existent also, because all our suffering is because of avidya. Why are we suffering? We are suffering because of avidya. So can you call it as non-existent? No. So neither can you call this non-existent, nor can you call it existent. Just like the dream world. Can you call this dream world existent or non-existent? Which category will you put? You can't call it existence because once you wake up, it is not there. You can't call it non-existence also because in the dream you shout and scream. Because of that, you experience it very clearly. So that is why it is called anirvachya, something which cannot be categorized, clearly classified. Again, it is called anirvachya because it is in the seed form. In the seed form, you can't make out the difference. The huge peepal tree, it comes from a small seed. In the seed, what do you see? Remember, everything is there. All details are there in the seed. How many leaves, how many twigs, how many branches, everything is there. That detail is there in the seed. But are you able to see anything? Are you able to make out anything? Nothing. So it is only, we can say, anirvachya. It is indescribable. Isn't it? In the same way, the entire personality of a person is there in that karna sharira, which is not manifest, which is latent, which is not clearly seen. So therefore it is called anirvachya. As far as the sthula sharira is concerned, the lifespan, we can say it is around 70 to 100 years, physical body. What about sukshma sharira? When does it end? Will it end with the death of the physical body? No. When does it end? It is said it ends only during pralaya, when all the matter go back to their causal form. That is pralaya. The manifested matter, they go back to the state of unmanifestation. That is called as pralaya. So this sukshma sharira, it goes away only in pralaya. What about karana sharira? Karana sharira is something which doesn't go away even in pralaya also. Then what is the only way of putting an end to karana sharira? Knowledge. It is only self-knowledge which puts an end to the karana sharira. Karana sharira can be imagined like the farmers, they collect the seeds, After harvest, what do? After the crops, they collect the seeds, they dry it up, expose it to sunlight, moonlight, etc. and they preserve it. For what? For the next cultivation. They keep the seeds. This karana sharira is something like that. Srishti, sthiti, laya. During laya, this karana sharira remains. For what? So that for the next srishti, this jiva can again take up different bodies. And this karana sharira comes to an end with self-knowledge. Why are we discussing all this? We are discussing all this because to emphasize the truth that the Atma, the Self, it is different from all the three. So see the next line. Upādhit-tritayāt anyam ātmanam avadhāret. Understand Atma to be different from the three bodies. The Satchit Ananda Atma has nothing to do with the Sthula Sharira, Sukshma Sharira or Karana Sharira. It is something different. Now don't say Atma is something else. We are talking of ourselves. So I am different from Sthula, Sukshma, Karana Sharira. This is the way we have to understand. So this discussion is about Sharira Trayas. Now the next is the same topic taken up with Panchakoshas. So what should be said? I am different from the Panchakoshas. The next verse number 15. Panchakoshādi yogena tattanmaya iva sthitah shuddhatma nīlavastrādi yogena sphatiko yatha. Yes. So this Atma is different from Panchakosha. What are the Panchakoshas? Where have we studied it? Again, Tattva Bodha. Tattva Bodha or Viveka Chudamani. In both it is there. So what are the Panchakoshas? Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha, and then Anandamaya Kosha. So that is why Atma Bodha is studied after Tattva Bodha. Because explanations are not given. It is only said Panchakoshādi yogena. What are those Panchakoshas? So this text is advanced text, we can say, to be studied after Tattva Bodha. So now what is being said here? Because of this Panchakosha, these Panchakoshas are as though covering the self. Tattanmaya iva sthitaha. An example is given. How these panchakoshas are covering the Atma? Shuddhatma Neela Vastradi Yogena Sphatigo Yatha. Just like a crystal. So there is a crystal. Now what is the color of a crystal? It is colorless, isn't it? But suppose you keep a Neela Vastra, a blue color cloth near it. What happens to the crystal? The crystal becomes blue, isn't it? Now it appears as though there is a blue crystal kept. Actually, crystal has no color, but because of this blue color cloth, the color gets superimposed upon the crystal and the crystal appears blue. Now you say blue crystal. Actually, it is not blue crystal. It is colorless crystal only. Nothing has happened, only the appearance has changed. Isn't it? In the same way, when this Atma, this Satchit Ananda Atma comes in contact with the Panchakosha, the properties of the Panchakoshas as though get superimposed upon this Atma, and now we describe this Atma based on the properties of Panchakosha. First, let us say Annamaya Kosha. What is Annamaya Kosha? Nothing but the physical body. Now, what do we consider ourselves? Actually, we are existence consciousness, but now we consider ourselves as this Panchakosha. I am this body. I am fair, I am dark, I am fat, I am lean, I am tall, I am short. I am old, I am young. I am sick, I am healthy. All these are what? They are all descriptions of Annamaya Kosha. Descriptions of Annamaya Kosha is not the descriptions of Atma, but we have misunderstood ourselves. We are very clear that this Annamaya Kosha is me. Isn't it? This is the way it covers. Kosha means covering. It takes our attention away from the Atma. It distracts our attention from the true self. That is the meaning. So that is Annamaya Kosha. What about Pranamaya Kosha? What are its functions? Hunger, thirst. That is the function of prana. So what do I say? I am hungry. I am hungry. I don't say I am Satchidananda Atma. I say I am hungry, I am thirsty. So the properties of Pranamaya Kosha I superimpose upon myself. All those wonderful research that is happening in what to eat, how to eat, what are the different kinds of preparations, all these are nothing but the distractions created by the Pranamaya Kosha, isn't it? People are so busy trying out new different dishes to satisfy their tongue. This is how it covers. Pranamaya Kosha covers the self. Something else becomes more important than knowing yourself. Right? Pranamaya Kosha. Next one is Manomaya Kosha. What does Manomaya Kosha do? It is full of emotions. Varieties of emotions rise in our mind. We are so identified with the emotions that our attention is taken away. I am sad, I am happy, I am elated, I am dejected, depressed. I am hurt, I am hurt. I am a very sentimental person, Your words are hurting me. What does it mean? The person is so attached to the mind that the functions of the mind are taken as my own function. If the mind is sad, I don't say mind is sad. What do I say? I am sad. The identification is so much that mind is something different from me, but the properties of the mind, I take it as my property. That is how the Manomaya Kosha covers the self. Next one is Vijñānamaya Kosha. Intellectual sheath. Intellect always questions. What is this? What is that? And whole of my life is gone in trying to understand the world. Deep into the space, what is happening? Deep inside the atom, what is happening? Deep inside the ocean, what is happening? Whole life is gone trying to understand what is this world. The most important thing is not understood. What is it? I have not understood myself. This is how the intellect creates distraction. Trying to know what is unimportant. Trying to know what is insignificant. And what is this intellectual's idea about oneself? I am this body. I am very much convinced. That definition of oneself is given by this intellectual sheath. Aham, the ego, is created by this intellectual sheath. I am this. I am this body. I am this mind. I am this intellect. This idea is there in the intellectual sheath, which is called as vijñānamaya kosha. So this way, it distracts my attention from the real self. And the fifth one is ānandamaya kosha, bliss sheath. What does it do? Actually, where is Ananda? Ananda is my nature. I need not seek it outside. But this bliss sheath projects Ananda outside. Indulge in pleasures. There is your happiness. So what do? We go out. Through our senses we go out seeking pleasures from the world. Right? Priya, moda, pramoda, if you remember. When you see the thing, there is a joy. Priya. When you get the thing, there is a greater joy. Moda. When you indulge in the thing, there is the greatest joy. Pramoda. Priya, moda, pramoda. The gradations of bliss or happiness. But actually, what is the source of happiness? Actually, the source of happiness is Atma alone. But our attention is distracted. So instead of seeking Atma, we seek Anatma in the search of happiness. This is how that bliss sheath, Anandamaya Kosha, covers the reality. So what does Bhagavan say here? Just like the crystal, colorless crystal, appears to be a colored crystal because of the contact of a colored cloth. In the same way, this Atma, which has nothing to do with these Panchakoshas, this Atma appears to have gained the properties of Panchakosha. Actually, nothing has happened. Crystal is colorless only, but it's only an appearance. In the same way, Atma appears to have the properties of the Panchakoshas. So now what has to be done? Now we have understood the problem. What is the problem? Satchit Ananda Atma has been superimposed by the properties of Sharīratrayam and Kosha Panchakam. Now what has to be done? In order to gain the true Atma, what has to be done? That is the next verse. Verse number 16. Vapustushādibhik koshaihi yuktam yuktya-vaghatatah ātmānamantaram shuddham vivichya-tandulam yatha. Yes. What has to be done? An example is given. What is the example? See the paddy. What is that paddy? The grain with the husk is called paddy. So if you want to remove that grain, what do? So that grain, rice grain, is covered with so many koshas. So many layers of coverings are there. The first is the husk. The second is what you call as a bran. So all of them have to be removed. How do you remove it? You pound it, isn't it? This is called avaghata, pound it. So when you pound it, the husk becomes separate, the rice becomes separate. So in the same way, tushadibihi koshaihi yuktam. Tushadibihi. Tusha means husk. So this tandulam means rice. This tandulam is covered by tushadibihi, husk, bran, etc. They are the koshas, they are the covering, they are the sheets. How to remove it? Avaghatataha. By pounding it, you remove it. In the same way, this shuddham antaram atmanam, this pure Atma, which is inside antaram, inner self, it is also covered by the koshas. What are the koshas? The panchakoshas. So this Atma is also as though covered by the koshas. So what has to be done? You will have to pound. How will you pound? Yuktya, by logic, by reasoning. So here pounding is not physically pounding. Pound this body and then Atma comes separate. Don't think that way. So yuktya vaghatataha, pound. But that pounding is not physical, it is intellectual. Yuktya, logic. Use your logic. Use your reasoning. Don't blindly accept something. use your own experience, and through your own experience you will come to know that this Atma is something different. This Atma is something different from the physical body. It is different from the intellectual, emotional sheets. It is something different. Use logic. What is that logic? Bhagavan himself is going to give. Vedanta is not something you have to just believe. It is not. There is a logical explanation given. How to think logically, that is also given here. All the concepts are based on logic alone. That's the beauty of Vedanta. So this is what you have to do in Mananam. I am not the body. How? Why? So then you have to use the logic. Then you do Mananam, reflection. I am not the body because this. So what is that logic? So one by one, now Bhagavan gives some of the important principles of Vedanta. Why do I say that I am different from Panchakosha? Why do I say that I am different from Sthula, Sukshma, Karana, Shariras? The logic is, observer is different from the observed. This logic is given in the next verse. Verse number 18. Dehendriya mano buddhi prakritibhyo vilakṣhanam tadvritti sakshinam vidyat ātmanam rājavat sada. Yes. This Atma is vilakṣhanam. Vilakṣhanam means different. Different from what? Deha, Indriya, Mana, Buddhi, Prakriti. This Atma, this self means what? Myself. I am different from what? Deha, physical body. Indriya, the sense organs. Mana, mind. Buddhi, intellect. They are all Prakriti, matter. Vilakṣhanam, I am different from all of them. Why do I say I am different? Tad vritti sakshinam. Who am I? Who is this self? This self is a sakshi. Sakshi means a witness. What is it witnessing? Tad vritti sakshinam. Vritti here means pravritti. Pravritti means activities. Deha, Indriya, Mana, Buddhi, they are all performing activities. Physical body is performing activity. Indriyas are performing activity of seeing, hearing, etc. Mind is performing the activities of desiring. Intellect is performing the activity of thinking. All these are happening. What is this self doing? The self is just witnessing. Now whatever is said, bring into our own experience. What is our experience? Everything is witnessed by me, isn't it? Body is functioning. What am I doing? I am witnessing the function. Heart is beating, kidney is functioning, so many things are happening inside. What is my experience? I am just a witness. I am just seeing it, experiencing it. I am an observer. All these things are observed. So what is this Atma doing? Just it's a sakshi. Again, so many thoughts come in the mind. What am I doing? I am just watching those thoughts, isn't it? The fact is this. You may get identified with the thought and go here and there. That's a different matter. But actually, what is this self doing? It is just watching. Sakshi. The very fact that you are able to watch these things shows that you are different from what is observed. You are different from what is experienced. The experiencer is different from the experienced. The observer is different from the observed. Now this is our experience. At the seat of meditation, they are all wonderful tips for meditation. This is all what we have to do. Paying attention to consciousness means what? Remain a witness of everything. Trying to know myself means what? Try to abide in what you are. Trying to abide means what? Witness everything else. Remain as consciousness. Remain as consciousness. Being conscious of all the things that is happening around. At the body level, at the mind level, you just witness and say, I am not this, I am only watching them. Remain a mute, indifferent witness. The very fact that I am able to witness proves that I am different from all of them. How? An example is given. Atmanam rajavat sada. Like Raja. Who is a Raja? King. This is the example given. What does the king do? When all those apsaras dance, he also don't go and dance. What does he do? He sits comfortably there and watches everything. So many things proceed in the, in that hall, darbar. Isn't it? The vidwans, the scholarly people, they elaborate upon various scriptures. So many discussions happen. So many dance and music also happen. What does the Raja do? He doesn't get involved. He's just witnessing. In his presence, everything happens. Isn't it? He's a witness. Nothing would have happened without him. He is there, therefore things are happening. But he himself is not involved in anything. That way, like a Raja, the self is remaining in you. Like a king. It is because of him that all the functions are happening in the body perfectly. It is because of him. Not doing anything, remaining a witness, he presides over everything. He is the president. The one who presides is called president. He is a sakshi, witness. So this is the way we have to meditate upon the self. Pay attention to that witness. So having given the importance of self-knowledge, by saying that it is only this self-knowledge which gives liberation, bondage is born out of a wrong notion in the mind. A wrong notion has to be corrected by right understanding, and therefore the knowledge of the self is very important. Right, verse number 19. Vyāpriteshvindriyeshvātmā vyāpārī vā vivekinam drishyate bhreshu dhāvatsu dhāvanniva yatha shashi. Yes. Another property of consciousness is it is free from all kinds of activities. It is free from all kinds of actions. It is a non-doer. It doesn't do anything. But this consciousness appears to do so many things. Why is it so? It is only because of the conditioning. Vyāpriteshu indriyeshu. All the indriyas are constantly functioning. Vyāpriteshu means functioning. So what is the condition of our senses? The eyes, ears, etc. They are constantly functioning. The sense organs are constantly interacting with the sense objects. This is constantly happening. The sense organs are constantly functioning. But for avivekinam, for the unintelligent people, for the ignorant people, what is functioning? They don't say senses are functioning, they say I am functioning. Vyāpāri iva. So that property of function, that functioning is superimposed upon whom? Upon the consciousness, upon the self. Avivekinam. Those people who are avivekis, who don't know the truth. So what do they say? I am seeing, I am hearing, etc. But who is seeing and who is hearing? The eyes are seeing the color and the form. The ears are hearing the sound fine. But now the avivekis, the ignorant people, they say, I am seeing, I am hearing. So what are they doing? Superimposing the properties of the senses upon themselves. How? An example is given. What is the example? Abhreshu dhavatsu. The cloud is moving fast. Dhavanniva yatha shashi. So, during the rainy season, lot of clouds are there in the sky. In the night, in a Purnima night. So what do you see? Bright moon you see. And the wind is also there. And the clouds are running. So when you pay attention to the moving clouds, what do you experience? You experience as though the moon is running on the other side, isn't it? If you just pay attention to the moving clouds, clouds appear stationary and the moon appears to be moving. Actually, who is moving? Clouds are moving. But now, it appears as though the moon is moving. The movement of the clouds is projected upon the moon. So this is a law. What is a law? When you are identified with the moving, the unmoving appears moving. When you are identified with the moving, the unmoving appears moving. Suppose you are sitting in a bus and the bus is moving. So you find that the trees are moving, isn't it? Actually, what is moving? Bus is moving. But that movement is projected upon the motionless trees. When you are identified with, when you are with the moving, the unmoving appears to be moving. In the same way, when you are identified with the actionful, the actionless consciousness appears actionful. Now there is no such term as actionful. It is my own creation. Actionful means full of action. So when you are identified with actionful senses, the actionless consciousness appears to be actionful. Is it clear? When you are identified with actionful senses, the actionless consciousness appears to be actionful. Actually, consciousness doesn't do anything. It is a non-doer. It is an akarta. In its presence, things are happening. Just like that king, it is just sitting there, not doing anything. But when you are identified with the senses, with the mind, etc., all those activities of mana, buddhi, ahankara, etc., they are superimposed upon consciousness. So what is consciousness? Consciousness is actionless. This concept will come again and again later. So if consciousness is actionless, what actually consciousness does in this whole assembly? There is on one side consciousness, there is on the other side body, the mind, the intellect, the senses. What is the role of consciousness? That is made clear in the next verse, verse number 20. ātmanyāropitāstoye dehendriya-manodhiyah svakriyartheshu vartante suryalokam yatha janah. Yes, what is the role of consciousness? It makes the insentient matter equipments sentient. Atma chaitanyam ashritya, taking refuge in the sentiency aspect of consciousness, deha indriya manodhiyah svakriyartheshu vartante. Taking sentiency, borrowing sentiency from consciousness, deha, body, indriya, senses, mana, mind, dhiyaha, intellect. All these instruments function. Svakriyartheshu, they function in their respective fields. What does it mean? It means this deha, indriya, mana, etc., they are matter. By themselves, they don't have any sentiency. They are inert. They don't have life. So who provides life for them? Who gives them sentiency, the ability to function? It is Atma. It is consciousness. Just like the bulb, the fan, etc., they don't have energy by themselves. Who energizes them? It is the electricity. So there is an energizing principle and there is the equipment which functions based on this energy. So in the same way, this consciousness is the sentiency giving principle. It gives sentiency, and borrowing the sentiency from consciousness, all the equipments work. They function. How? An example is given. What is example? Suryalokam yatha janaha. Just like people work in the presence of Surya Alokam. Alokam means light. In the sunlight. So whatever activity you have to do, what is essential? Light is essential, isn't it? Only in the light you can do something. Is light doing anything? Light is not doing anything. It is merely present. In its presence, things happen. The light doesn't interfere. In the very same light, a murderer is committing murder and a police is catching the murderer. Everything is happening in the light. Light doesn't interfere in the activity, but in the presence of light, things happen. Good things are also happening, bad things are also happening. The light doesn't interfere. In the same way, consciousness gives sentiency without interfering. Swakriyartheshu. Swakriyartheshu means what? Eyes, they are designed to see, it sees. That ability to see, that sentiency necessary to see comes from consciousness. Right? Or to give another example, the fuel, the petrol or the diesel. It gives energy depending upon the equipment functions. The petrol doesn't interfere with the activity, it just gives energy. In the same way, consciousness gives sentiency without interfering. Just like in the presence of sunlight, people do their work. So what is consciousness? Sentiency giving principle. This is another important concept of Vedanta. Though consciousness gives only sentiency, consciousness doesn't do anything. It is a non-doer. That concept is furthermore clarified in the next two verses. Let us first chant verse number 21. Dehendriya gunan karmani amale sacchidatmani adhyasyantya vivekena gagane nilatadivat. Yes. So all the actions performed by Deha, Indriya, etc., all the actions that happens, Gunan Karmani, their qualities, their activities, all that what is done by the body, the senses, the mind, intellect, etc., Adhyasyanti, they are projected upon what? Amale Sachit Atmani. All those activities are projected upon Amale, pure, Sachit Atmani, existence, consciousness, self. Due to what? Adhyasyanti avivekena. The same idea is repeated here. Earlier it was said. Consciousness is actionless. Senses are actionful. All those activities of the senses are projected upon actionless consciousness. How? Just like example is given. Gagane nilatadivat. Just like the blueness is projected upon the colorless sky. What is the color of the sky? The sky is actually colorless. Right? But the sky appears to be blue. That appearance is not actually real. The real color of the sky is no color, colorless. But now that sky appears to be of blue color. It is only an appearance, it's only an illusion. In the same way, the actionless consciousness appears to be actionful. It is only an illusion, it is not a reality. Now please understand, when I say consciousness, what has to be understood? I am actionless. This is the way we have to understand. Don't keep that Atma consciousness somewhere else. It is a description about me. So I am actionless consciousness. Where is the action happening? At the body level, actions are happening. At the mind level, desires are coming. At the intellect level, thinking is happening. All these are happening in my presence. I don't do anything. in my presence things are happening. This is the way it has to be understood. The same idea is mentioned in the next verse also. Let us chant verse number 22. Ajñānān mānasopādhehe kartrtvādīni chātmani kalpyantem bhugate chandre chalanādiyatham bhasah. Same thought but different example. Ajñānāt, out of ignorance. Mānasopadhehe kartrtvādīni ātmani kalpyante. Because of ignorance, the properties of the mind are superimposed on Atma. What is the property of the mind? Kartrtvādīni, the sense of doership, the sense of enjoyership. These are things happening at the mind level. It is projected upon the self. What does it mean? So when eyes are seeing, ears are hearing, mind is functioning, body is functioning, what do I say? I am functioning. When body performs action, what do I say? I perform action. So I perform action means what? I am the doer. That sense of feeling is there, isn't it? Whenever we perform some action, what is our understanding? I did it. That I did it, Bhagavan says it is ignorance. Who did it? Actually, the matter envelopments according to their nature, it did it. You are a mere witness, but because of your identification with the body-mind, now you say, that action belongs to me. More discussion will come a little later. Detailed discussion is going to follow. So because of identification, the properties, the functions of this body-mind appear to be my property. So I become the doer, and naturally I will have to become the enjoyer also. The karta alone becomes bhokta. So now the karma becomes mine. Naturally karma phala has to become mine. And now this karma phala bas. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam. Now, what is the example given here? This consciousness is a non-doer, it's an akarta abhokta, but it appears to be karta bhokta, like one example is given. Kalpyante ambugate chandre chalanadi yatham bhasah. So there is a moon, bright moon there. There is a water down below. River is flowing. Now that moon is reflected in the river. So what is the nature of river water? Chalanadi. Lot of agitation is there. So what is the nature of this reflected moon? The reflected moon also appears to be agitated, moving. Actually speaking, the moon doesn't move. But now the reflection of the moon seen in the river moves. So this movement belongs to whom? The movement belongs to water, but that movement of water is projected upon the moon. Now the moon appears to move. In the same way, the actions of the body-mind intellect appear to be the actions of consciousness. The same idea is repeated with a different example. Bhagavan, please give me a practical proof of this. Can you give me an experiential proof that whatever is happening at the mind level doesn't happen to me? Because I am so identified with the mind that I don't feel that what is happening in my mind is not connected to me. I don't feel it. I feel actually it is happening to me. So when the mind is sad, I am sad. When the mind is happy, I am happy. Can you give an experiential proof for whatever you are saying? That there is no connection. That consciousness is absolutely unaffected. Can you give an experiential proof? So the next verse is such a proof. Verse number 23. Ragecha sukha-duḥkhādi buddhau satyam pravartate sushuptau nasti tannāśe tasmād buddhestu nātmanah. Yes, Bhagavan says, yes, I can give you an experiential proof that activities of the mind actually doesn't belong to you. Now, what is your experience? Raga, ichha, sukha, dukkha, etc. Raga, attachment. Ichha, desire. Sukha, happiness. Dukkha, sorrow. All these fluctuations of the mind. Buddhau satyam pravartate. Whenever buddhi, the mind intellect, the antakarana, whenever the intellect, the mind intellect is present, all these things are present. So here buddhi means the mind or intellect. Normally we say mind. Whenever we talk of thoughts, flow of thoughts, etc., we talk of mind. So whenever the mind is there, all these fluctuations are seen. Sushuptau nasti tannashe. And in the deep sleep, what happens to the mind? Mind is gone, all the fluctuations also gone. So what does it mean? So when the mind is there, raga, ichha, etc. is there. When the mind is not there, all these things are not there. What does it mean? All these properties belong to mind and not me. Not me means not to this consciousness. In the waking state also consciousness is there. In the deep sleep also consciousness is there. So, in the waking state, mind is there. Mental disturbances are there. In the deep sleep state, consciousness is there. Mind is not there. Disturbances are also not there. So what does it mean? These disturbances belong to mind and not me. It was a very, very beautiful verse. Again, something very practical for meditation. So whenever the mind is disturbed, what should you say? These disturbances don't belong to me, it belongs to my mind. And so therefore what should I do? I should remain a witness to these disturbances. Very practical tip. If the mind is disturbed, the disturbance can be of various types. So what has to be done at the seat of meditation? Don't get identified with the mind, because every time you identify with the mind, you are strengthening the mind. You are cooperating with the mind in getting more and more disturbed. What you have to do is, you have to just sit watching the mind, witnessing the mind. And this witnessing is possible because you are different from your mind. So what happens when you start witnessing the mind? You are not cooperating with the mind. You are just watching the mind. You are just seeing its play. Not interested in the contents of the mind. And when you sit like this, you will find that the disturbance start coming down. And if you can do a perfect witnessing, you can completely stop that disturbance. That is possible. Mind becomes absolutely quiet. Very practical tip. All the disturbance that we have in the mind, you should say, this doesn't belong to me. You should relax. Very many times what happens, especially in the sadhaka community, oh my God, what all kinds of thoughts I am having. That itself creates a kind of disturbance. Let it happen, so what? You are not your thought. You are just a witness of your thought. So what you should do? Relax and witness, and you will find all those thoughts will go away. So this is a beautiful practical tip of winning over the disturbances of the mind. Right. Now Bhagavan, till now you have been telling consciousness is not this, that, etc. Consciousness is different from sthula sharira, sukshma sharira, karana sharira, pañcīkṛta. The consciousness is not karta, not bhokta. But what is consciousness? So the next verse talks about the nature of consciousness. Verse number 24. Prakashorkasya to yasya shaityam agniryatoshnata svabhava sachidananda nitya nirmalatatmanah. Yes. Just like arkasya prakashah svabhavaha. Just like the nature of the sun. What is the nature of sun? Prakash, light. Then, toyasya shaityam. What is the nature of water? Coolness is the nature of water. Agnehe ushnata. What is the nature of fire? Heat is the nature of fire. In the same way, tatha sat chit ananda nitya nirmalata atmanaha svabhavaha. In the same way, what is the nature of the self? Sat, existence. Chit, consciousness. Anand, bliss. Nitya, eternity. Nirmalata, nirmalata, purity. This is the nature of consciousness. This is how you should meditate upon yourself. Use these pointers and then meditate upon yourself. So when you sit with closed eyes, these are the ideas you must put in the mind. This is me. Svabhava means what? Which can never change. So here 3 examples are given. Arkasya svabhava prakasha, like the sun. What is the nature of sun? Light. Can you ever have dark sun? If it is dark sun, then it is not sun. Svabhava means it can never change. Similarly, water. Even if you heat it, it will come back and become cold. Because that is its nature. Everything tends to go towards its nature. Then, Agni is Ushnata. You can never have cold fire. It's not possible. Just like these things are not possible, in the same way, Dukkha Swarupa Atma is not possible. What is our nature? Ananda is our nature. All the time we should be cheerful, peaceful, happy. The question, why are you happy, is wrong. Yes, why are you miserable? Yes, that is the right question. Because your nature is Ananda, so naturally you should be happy all the time. Why are you miserable? Yes, that's the right question. All the cause of misery is because of our identification with the not-self. Self is Ananda Swarupa. If I am not able to experience that infinite joy in me, something is wrong with my understanding about myself. This way we have to understand. If I am miserable, I am wrong. But what is our philosophy? If I am miserable, others are wrong. The world is the source of my problem. If you have problem, you are the problem. This is the truth. Don't blame anyone. Your own wrong understanding about yourself and the world is the cause of all your suffering. So therefore, where should the correction be made? Not outside, but in me. Correction has to be made in my way of looking at the world. Change your outlook and look out. This is the formula. Change your outlook and then look out. Change your vision and then look out. Then there is only happiness and happiness alone. Right. Now comes a deep discussion of what this conditioning is and how this conditioning came into existence. Till now we have seen that the properties of the body, mind, intellect are projected upon consciousness. But how did this happen? Now this topic is going to be dealt, for which we will have to spend some time. Verse number 25. Ātmanasaccīdam śasca buddhirvrittiriti dvayam sanyojya ca vivekena jnānamīti pravartate. Yes. So Bhagavan says, 2 things have combined, because of which all this confusion has taken place. What are the 2 things? Ātmanaha saccit amshaha cha and buddhehe vrittihi. These are the 2 things which have combined. On one side, the saccit amsha, aspect of Atma. On the other side, the vritti of buddhi. Iti dvayam, those 2. Sanyojya cha avivekena, because of ignorance, those 2 have combined together. And then janami iti, I know, this concept arises. Now what does it mean? We'll spend some time here. It needs some detailed discussion. First of all, let us take this example of reflection. The sun's reflection upon a medium. Let us take this example. So there is a pot filled with water and there is a movement in that water. So now there is a sun shining. So now what happens? The sun is reflected upon this water contained in the pot. Now what will be the nature of the reflected sun? The sun will appear agitated, isn't it? Agitated sun is the result. Now this reflected sun has got the property of the original sun and also the property of the reflecting medium. Right? The reflected sun has got the property of the original sun. What is the property which is borrowed from the original sun? The light aspect. And what is the property which it has borrowed from the reflecting medium? The movement aspect. So now this reflected sun has the property from the original sun and also from the reflecting medium. Now we see this sun, a small sun and a agitated sun, isn't it? Two things combining together, giving rise to a third thing. The third thing has the property of both the sun and the reflecting medium. Now the first question is, can sun combine with water? Can sun combine with water? Actually, it's an illusion. The sun and water can never combine. Then what are we seeing? What we see is only an illusion. It is not a reality. What are we seeing? We are seeing an agitated sun. So that's why it is said, sanyojya avivekena. Now what are these two things? Now here Bhagavan says, two things have combined. One is Atma, the consciousness principle. The other is the thoughts of the mind. The consciousness has combined with the thoughts of the mind and it gives rise to what is known as Jīvatma. For greater clarity, first of all, let us see how this mind functions. So here it is said, buddhehe vrittihi, the thoughts of the mind. It's a little subtle concept, little difficult concept. Let me try my best. How does the mind know things? The mind knows things through thoughts. Agreed? What is this whole world? This whole world is nothing but Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. Shabda, sound. Sparsha, touch. Rupa, form, color. Rasa, taste. Gandha, smell. Yes or no? The whole world is nothing but Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. Now, how does the mind knows this? The mind knows this through thoughts. What is the proof? You look at a red flower constantly for some time. For 2 minutes, 3 minutes you see, and then close your eyes. What do you see? What do you see? You see the very same red flower in the mind, isn't it? How do you see? What is the content? Isn't it thoughts? So the external Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha is understood by the mind, is converted by the mind as thoughts. Do you agree? Just like a digital system. A digital system converts the audio and video information into bytes, ones and zeros. Those who know. Any digital system functions based on ones and zeros, high volt and low volt, that's all. Anything in the world is converted into ones and zeros. In the same way, the mind, what does it do? The external world is nothing but Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. All these Shabda, Sparsha, Rasa, Rupa, Gandhas are converted into which format? It is converted into thoughts. So what is mind experiencing? Mind experiences everything in the form of thoughts. Not only the Shabda Sparsha Rupa Rasa Gandha, but even the feelings, it is of the form of thoughts. Even the ideas, it is form of thoughts. The concepts, it is nothing but thoughts. Is it fine? This is the way the mind functions. It converts everything into thought. So actually what are we experiencing? We are not experiencing things and beings, we are experiencing only thoughts. So this is buddhehe vrittihi on one side. There is this buddhi, there is this mind which converts everything into thought and keeps it there. This is one aspect. This is the reflecting medium. Now what is that reflected sun? That sun is nothing but consciousness. And what is the nature of consciousness? The consciousness is I am. What is consciousness? I am. That is why it is called Atma. It is me. So how do I experience me? I experience me as I. So this pure consciousness, what is its nature? It is Atma. It is of the nature of pure I. It is of the nature of Sat, existence. It is of the nature of Chit, consciousness. So now you have a reflecting medium which is thought, and on the other hand you have the consciousness which is going to get reflected. So on one side you have pure consciousness, on the other side you have this reflecting medium. Now when this consciousness reflects on this reflecting medium called mind, what will be the third thing which emerges out? Remember that example. Sun, reflecting medium, and the reflected sun. What is reflected sun? Light moving. So agitation is borrowed from the reflecting medium. Light is borrowed from the sun. Now you have a third entity which is agitated sun, isn't it? In the same way, now you have two entities. One is pure consciousness, the other is the reflecting medium called the mind. Now what happens when this pure consciousness gets reflected upon this medium called mind, which is nothing but thought? So the third entity which is going to be born by the combination of these two must have I and it must have thought. Accepted? The mind is nothing but thought. Consciousness is of the nature of I. So what should come out by the combination of these two? I should be present, thought should be present. This is called I thought, aham vritti. Right? Consciousness is of the nature of knowing. Mind is of the nature of thought. So what kind of knowing will happen through the mind? It will be of the nature of thought. Thought-based knowledge. Are you able to follow? This third entity which is emerging out will have I thought, will have thought-based knowledge. Are you able to understand? Now what is this I thought? I thought is what is called as ahankara or jiva bhava or aham vritti. So the feeling which we have now is this I thought. What is the feeling which I have now? I am experiencing I and I know about this I as a thought. So what is my understanding? I am a man, I am a woman. This is the definition which I give to myself. Isn't it a thought? It is a thought. I am a man, I am a woman, I am sad, I am happy, I am intelligent, I am dull. All these things are nothing but definition of the self existing in me as thought. Now I am not knowing myself as pure Satchidananda Atma. How am I knowing now? I am knowing through the mind, through the thoughts in the mind, and all these self-defining thoughts I consider now as myself. Are you able to follow? So though I am experiencing this I principle now, but I am not actually experiencing that pure I. I am experiencing the impure I, made impure by the thoughts. I am not experiencing the absolute I. I am experiencing only the reflected I, reflected on the mind medium. I am not experiencing the higher I. At present, what I am experiencing is the lower I, the lower nature, which we call as ego. I am not experiencing the pure I. I am experiencing that I which is identified with the body, mind, intellect. So consciousness, pure consciousness identified with the body, mind, intellect is the jiva, is the individual. Are you able to understand? Now the question is this combination possible? Can consciousness identify with matter? Because buddhi is nothing but matter. Is this combination possible? Combination between consciousness and matter, is it possible? It is actually impossible. One is real, the other is unreal. Just like the sun and the water combination is impossible, this combination is also impossible. That is why it is said, avivekena. There are certain combinations which are impossible, but we experience it. For example, the movie theater example. We have seen it very many times. So in the movie theater, this person is crying. Why is he crying? He is crying because some tragic movie is going on. Hero is miserable, poor, helpless, hopeless, moneyless, powerless. So now this tragic movie, when this person sees, what is his experience? He is also crying. Now the question is, who is crying? The real person need not cry because he has no problem, he is perfectly fine. The unreal character cannot cry because it's unreal. Then who is crying? The real person need not cry. The unreal character cannot cry. Then who is crying? The real identified with the unreal is the one who is crying, isn't it? So now there is a combination of the real and the unreal. Now the question is it ever possible? Can real combine with the unreal? Can real combine with the unreal? Not possible. Real can combine with the real, that is fine. But how can real combine with the unreal? But this is what we experience in the movie theater, isn't it? The real person suffering the unreal problems of an unreal character is now giving a real cry. So in this world, this is possible. The impossible is possible. But understand, it is only an appearance. Whenever such things are seen, understand it's an appearance. So now here is this infinite consciousness reflected upon this reflecting medium of mind, giving rise to a third entity which is called as Jivatma. Consciousness identified with this body, mind, intellect give rise to a third entity which is the Jiva, the individual. And what is the experience of this individual? Janami iti pravartate. Now this third entity claims itself, I am the knower. What is the essence, sum and substance of the whole discussion? The Jiva Bhava that we are experiencing is an illusion. It doesn't even exist. What exists is only Satchit Anand. What exists is only existence and consciousness. Through our own misconceptions, we have limited this existence to the existence of this body. Let us chant the next verse also. Verse number 26. Atmano vikriya nasti buddhir bodho na jatviti jivas sarvamalam jñātvā jñātā drashtete muhyate. Yes. So two things have combined together. That combination is absolutely impossible. The living cannot combine with the non-living. The real cannot combine with the unreal. But this is what is seen. It's an appearance. Now what has happened? See this. Atmano vikriya nasti. As far as consciousness is concerned, there is no action. Buddher bodho na jatyati. As far as the mind is concerned, it has no life. It is inert. Now these two things have combined. And now the inert appears sentient. And the actionless consciousness appears actionful. Each one is transferring its own property to the other. What is the property of consciousness? Sentiency is the property. It now comfortably puts it onto the matter. Now the matter appears sentient, alive. It is inert, but it appears alive. All this body, mind, intellect, full of actions, what do? They superimpose their property upon consciousness. Now the consciousness appears full of action. More detail we will discuss tomorrow. The whole point is this. This combination has given birth to an illusory entity called Jiva. Jiva has no existence, just like the reflected sun has no existence. What exists is only the original sun. But now, what is seen is a reflected sun. To give another example, suppose you look at your face in a convex mirror. What will you see? You see a third entity, isn't it? You don't see your face, but at the same time it is your face only. So a third face emerges out, which is a combination of the convex property of the mirror and your face. And now suppose you take a concave mirror and see your face. There's another face which is projected. Isn't it? Actually the combination is not possible, but that is what we see. So just like these appearances are only illusory, it has no reality. In the same way, this Jiva Bhava is actually an illusion. It doesn't exist. Now all the suffering in life is for whom? All suffering in life is for whom? Is it for consciousness? No, it is Ananda Swarupa. Is it for matter? It cannot have suffering because it is Jada. Then who is suffering? Consciousness identified with the BMI, not knowing itself, is the one who is suffering. So if we have to put an end to all our suffering, what should we do? What should we do? There is only one way: know yourself. But normally what do? We try to put an end to our suffering through worldly means. It is never going to. You will not get a permanent solution. A temporary solution you may get. But if you want a permanent solution, there is only one way: end this Jiva Bhava, which is born out of delusion, born out of ignorance. And that is why this self-knowledge is so important. When you come to know who is suffering, you come to know there is nobody who is suffering. That entity is unreal. It's an illusion. That's why whenever people used to go to Ramana Maharshi and ask, Bhagavan, I am suffering. Bhagavan would say, who is asking this question? Who is asking this question? Bhagavan, I am asking. Go to the root of this I. Very many people did not understand what is this going to root of the I. Is it some tree or something you can go to root? But there were very rare few who did understand. They tried to understand and they got it. Those are rare few people. And then what happened? The sorrow gone. That person then swims in the infinite bliss of the self, which is the goal of life. So after having given the importance of self-knowledge, what is the importance of self-knowledge? Only self-knowledge can put an end to the illusory bondage, which is only a wrong notion of the mind. So, what is this self-knowledge? The self-knowledge is a right understanding of the self, trying to know ourselves as we are. Self-knowledge is nothing but the understanding that we are not the body, mind, intellect, but we are the pure consciousness. We are Sat-Chit Ananda Atma. What is the nature of this consciousness? It is a witness, all the time witnessing the mana, buddhi, indriya, etc. This consciousness is a non-doer and a non-enjoyer. This is the nature of the consciousness. But when it comes in contact with upādhis, the conditionings, then this consciousness appears to be limited. And this limited consciousness is what we experience in ourselves. So then what has to be done? Bhagavan says, we have to apply the right understanding, right reasoning. Yukti has to be used to find out what I am and what I am not. Atma anatma viveka has to be done. We cannot but desire infinite happiness. We cannot but desire immortality. Why do we desire it? We desire it because it is our nature. It is swabhava. Whatever is our nature, we cannot but desire it. We will desire infinity because infinity is our nature. So now, this jiva is experiencing finitude. What will this jiva do? There is a suffocation. So naturally there is what you call all efforts put to come out of this suffocation. So what is the normal thing which an ignorant jiva will do? The ignorant jiva will try to gain this happiness by seeking outside. Inside it is not finding happiness. So naturally, what is the only option? Inside it is not finding happiness because inside it is only limitation. It finds only the ego there, limited finite ego. So naturally it will seek happiness in the outer world. And does it get happiness in the outer world? Unfortunately, yes. Whenever the desires are fulfilled, it finds that there is some happiness. It's not that we are not getting happiness from the outer world. No, it is there. Whenever the desires are fulfilled, are you happy or not? Of course, yes. So now this jiva misunderstands the source of happiness. So now what it understands? Okay, whenever I have fulfilled my desires, I was happy. So therefore, the only way to become happy is fulfill all the desires. It makes a wrong conclusion about life. Now what does this jiva do? Whenever there is a desire, it tries to fulfill it. How can you fulfill any desire? There is no other way, you have to work for it. What is this work? Work is nothing but karma. And what will karma bring as its result? Karma phala. So everything starts from avidya. So the first thing is avidya. I don't know myself. I think myself to be this body. Now I am feeling misery. Now there is a desire to come out of this misery. There is a desire for happiness. So from avidya comes kama, desire. From desires come karma, action. From karma comes karma phala, results. And with karma phala what comes? This goes on and on and on. Birth after birth, this continues. And the very interesting part about this desire is, every time you fulfill a desire, another desire props up. While studying in the school, you think this is everything, scoring high marks. Then suddenly another desire comes. I should get a good job. When you have got a good job, again another desire. I should get promotion. When that is also over, now I think I should get settled. I should get married. Another desire. Every time one desire is fulfilled, another will prop up. Once you are married, children. One children, I must have my own house also. Now I am living in a rented house. Better I must have my own house. Then education of children. Then marriage of children. Then grandchild. It goes on and on and on and on. Maru Marichika. More and more you walk, the water seems to be far only. One old lady was telling, Swamiji, please bless, so that my great-grandchild will get proper, suitable alliance. That is the only desire I have now. How the world is cheating us, you see. Desire after desire, desire after desire. There is no end to it as though. It goes on and on and on. And we are cheated throughout our life. All the time identified with the body, identified with the organs. That jnanendriyas and karmendriya is constantly performing action, one after another, trying to fulfill all the desires. The never-ending desires. And at the time of the death also he has some desire. And that desire in turn gives him another birth. So now you understand why this avidya is anadi. Earlier it has come. Anadi avidya nirvachya. The very fact that we all have taken body shows that till now we have not gained knowledge. Till now means what? From anadikala. Anadikala means what? Beginningless time we have been searching, but we have not got. The very fact that we have got birth proves that till now we are searching only. When will this search end? See, you can continue this game on and on and on. If you do this one mistake, then the game will be over. What is this mistake? If you gain the knowledge, the game is going to be over. If you want to continue this game, you are most welcome. Every time one desire comes, Bhagavan will keep on giving you new bodies according to the type of desires you have. And the game can go on and on and on. Are you fed up? If you are fed up, if you want to put an end to this infinite game, this is the only way. Which is the way? Gain this self-knowledge. Only way. We have no choice. Someday or the other, everyone has to come to this path. Someday or the other means what? Not necessarily in this birth. The game goes on and on and on. And is it a wonderful game? It is a painful game. Look at the next verse. Verse number 27. Rajju sarpavadatmanam jīvaṁ ñātvā bhayam vahet nāham jīvah parātmeti ñātaśchet nirbhayo bhavet. Yes. This jiva, because of his self-ignorance, all the time, what is it he is experiencing? Bhayam vahet. All the time it is full of fear, worry, anxiety, misery. Just like that reflected sun. All the time that reflected sun is afraid. Why? Because the reflected sun always depends upon the medium, the water and the pot. Isn't it? If that water gets dried up, I am gone. If the pot is broken, I am gone. Every moment that reflected sun is afraid. What about the original sun? No fear at all. Whether the pot is there or not, it has nothing to do with the pot. Isn't it? Now see the condition. The original sun and reflected sun, see the difference. One is absolutely fearless. The other is absolutely fearful. Isn't it? So the moment we identify ourselves with this body, with this finite body, limited body, imperfect body, dying body, decaying body, what will be our experience? There is uncertainty, there is fear. Nalini dalagata jalavati taralam tattvajīvitam atishaya chapalam. Life is as fickle as the water droplet playing on the lotus petal. How can a person be peaceful in this world? Impossible. Very many times people have this wrong notion. I may not be happy, but there are very many people who are very happy. Everyone is thinking the other person is happy. I am miserable, but the other person is happy. Now the question is, with ignorance, can you ever be happy? So this is what happens when you have clear understanding about life. With this, what you call, imperfect existence, can anyone be happy in life? How much ever rich that person may be, how much ever powerful that person may be, prosperous that person may be, can he be happy? Impossible. As long as there is no self-knowledge, there is no question of happiness or peace or security. Not possible. It is simply not possible. So not only that, all the wrong notions in your mind about yourself goes away, your wrong notion about others also go away. Very many times we have this notion, others are so happy, see, they are all enjoying life, see, they are going here, they are going there, always laughing, playing. All foolishness to the core. Nobody in this world can be happy. Nobody. Thus, we become choiceless. We have no choice but to gain this knowledge. This ego is a non-existent entity. It's an illusory entity. And all our suffering is because of this illusory entity called ego. Strong identification with the body means anything happening to the body, your peace will be threatened. And what is the nature of the body? Someday or the other it has to die. If this is the truth, how can any person who is identified with the body, who has no self-knowledge, how can he be happy? Your very existence is threatened every moment. First comes existence, then come enjoyment, isn't it? If the existence itself is threatened, what kind of enjoyment you will have? That is why in Srimad Bhagavatam, a beautiful example is given. So there is a person who is walking in the forest and suddenly he is chased by some tiger or something. He runs and runs and runs. And there is a well there. So he knocks down one stone and then he falls into the well. As he is falling into the well, one branch was there hanging. He hangs on to the branch. Now the branch is also breaking. He looks down. The well is dry. And there are all kinds of snakes and this and that. So whether he come out of the well, he is going to die. Even if he falls down, he will die. And then, that while, falling down, he had knocked off one beehive. And because of which some honey were dropping from the top. And now this fellow, holding on to the breaking branch, now he is extending his tongue to lick that honey which is falling. This is the example given in Srimad Bhagavatam. Here is a fellow who is facing a sure death. Even if he falls, he will die. Even if he doesn't die, the snakes will ensure that he dies. Even if he come out, he will die. Some wild animal is waiting there. And now here is a person who is enjoying the honey droplets. Whose story is this? This is our story only. Existence is so finite, 70, 80 or 90 or maximum say 100. Death is sure. Yamaraj is giving indications one after the other. Teeth gone, hair gone, wrinkles have come, can't stand up, can't sit down, knee pain, joint pain, everything is there. Can't digest food. Even then the desires are not dying. Desires are young, fresh. Becoming younger and younger with every indulgence. This is the condition of human being. It's the greatest wonder. So then what should we do? There is only one way, gain this knowledge. What is the knowledge? This ego is an illusion. Rajju sarpavad atmanam jīvaṁ. So this jiva, who is none other than infinite consciousness, now considers himself to be a finite entity trapped in the body. Bhagavan says it is an illusion. Just like the snake seen on the rope. Rajju sarpavat. Rajju means rope. Sarpa means snake. Just like the snake seen on the rope. See, the problem is, examples we understand. But where to apply, we don't know. Now in this Rajju Sarpa example, what we see is the real combining with the unreal to give the third entity. When do you see a snake on the rope? When you are not at all seeing the rope, in pitch darkness, there is no question of seeing snake. Because you are not even seeing the rope there. So in pitch darkness, there is no question of seeing the rope, there is no question of seeing the snake also. In bright light also, there is no question of seeing the snake. Why? Everything is very clear. When do you see the snake? Something like evening time, when there is a little light there. You are seeing something there, but you are not clearly seeing what it is. Isn't it? So actually you are seeing the rope, but you are not clearly seeing the rope. So therefore, the reality is there, but reality is not properly understood. Then what do? You are seeing something there, and then you project something on the reality. Snake samskara is there. You have seen snake earlier somewhere. You know what snake is. And immediately that projection of that snake experience is put on the rope. So it is a combination of two. Number one, the reality of the rope. Number two, the projection of snake. Together, now you have a snake experience. The ego is also like that. Consciousness is there and the thought is there. Together, they become the ego. So what does Bhagavan say here? This jiva, which is just as illusory as that snake. So what is the experience of this person who is seeing snake on the rope? All fear, worry, anxiety, etc. In the same way, when we don't know ourselves, when we mistake this consciousness as jiva, we suffer. Just like when you mistake rope as snake, you suffer. In the same way, when you mistake this consciousness as jivatma, you suffer. So what to do to put an end to this suffering? Know yourself. How do you know? Naham jivaha paratma iti jñātaśchet nirbhayo bhavet. I am not jiva, I am pure consciousness. When you know this, jñātaśchet nirbhayah bhavet. You become free from fear. So what is the only way to put an end to all kinds of negativities of the mind? Fear, worry, anxiety, stress, everything. There is only one way, know yourself. So if you want to put the Vedantic knowledge in two simple terms, the two simple terms are, number one, falsification of the ego, and number two, disassociation from the ego. These are the two terms, falsification and disassociation or disidentification. This is the message of Vedanta. First of all, know that this ego is false. It has no existence. It is an illusion. Just like the blueness of the sky. Just like the colored crystal. These are the examples used. Just like the colored crystal. Just like the blueness of the sky. Just like the movement of the moon with respect to the moving clouds. Or just like the movement of the moon on a river. These are all appearances, but it is not true. In the same way, the existence of ego is also an illusion. So what you have to do? Through right understanding, falsify the ego. Understand that this ego doesn't exist. And number two, disidentification from the ego, disassociation from the ego. Even though it doesn't exist, you experience it. So when you experience it, what you should do? Disidentify from it. There are very many things we experience, but we know it is not there. The mirage waters, you see it, but you are not tempted to drink it. Isn't it? In the same way, even when the ego is experienced, understand it doesn't exist. And even during experience, try to disassociate yourself. So with what you should associate then? Associate yourself with pure consciousness. So what is said here? Naham jivaha paratma iti jñātaschet. When you know yourself as this paratma, as this pure consciousness, then you become nirbhaya. There is no other way. Bhagavan, tell me how to know this consciousness. So Bhagavan says, here knowing consciousness is not like the normal way of knowing. So that is the next topic taken up. Verse number 28. Atma vabhāsayetyekah buddhyādīnindriyaṇyapi dīpo ghātādivat svātma jadaisthairnāvabhāsyate. Yes. Ekah atma buddhyādi indriyāni avabhāsayati. How to know this consciousness? Now this is the question. So Bhagavan here says, this consciousness cannot be known through the normal process of knowing. What is the normal process of knowing anything? There is an object, you apply your sense organs, and then apply the mind, and then you know. Every knowledge is a thought-based knowledge. So there is something, you say a flower is there, so then you use your sense organ called eyes, you get the color of it, that color is stored inside as thought, you know that thought, and thus you have known that thing. This is how it is. You use your mind, you use your sense organs. Now the question is, can consciousness be known through this process? This way, Bhagavan says, no, it is not possible. Why? Swatma jadaisthairnāvabhāsyate. It cannot be known because consciousness is the subject, everything else is an object. Consciousness cannot be known through this process because it is the consciousness which lends sentiency to the sense organs and the mind. They function because of consciousness. How can they in turn know consciousness? Pujya Gurudev used to give a beautiful example. The battery, the torch. So the moment you put the battery in, the torch has the light. Now with that light, can you see the battery? The moment you remove the battery so that you can put it in front of the light and see, what happens? Light is gone. The moment you put it in, light is there, but the battery is in. Isn't it? With the light, can you see the battery? Not possible. In the same way, consciousness lends sentiency to the mind and the sense organs. Now the mind and the sense organs are functioning because of consciousness. Can the very same sense organ, can it know consciousness? No way. Then what is happening? Consciousness can know the mind and the senses, but the mind and the senses cannot know consciousness. Why they cannot know consciousness? They cannot know consciousness because an inert thing cannot know a sentient thing. It is always the sentient thing which knows the inert thing. Inert cannot know the sentient. Just like Deepo Ghātādivat. Suppose there is a lamp kept and there is a ghata, there is a pot. So who knows whom? Or who illumines whom? The lamp illumines the pot. In the light of the lamp, the pot is seen. Now, can the reverse happen? The pot is illumining the lamp. Is it possible? It is just impossible and it is just illogical. Now, why this thing is said? Because very many times we find in the society people saying, where is God? Prove God. Then only I will believe in God. This is as foolish as telling, where is this lamp? Let the pot illumine the lamp. Then I will believe in lamp. When you say prove God, what are you trying to say? Let my inert sense organs, let it know the sentient consciousness. Is it possible? It is impossible. Can the inert thing ever know the sentient? Not possible. Ekaha atma buddhyādi indriyāni avabhāsyati. This Atma is the one which gives sentiency to these indriyas and the buddhi, etc. The reverse is never possible. So therefore, can you prove God in the laboratory? Impossible. Just because you can't prove God doesn't mean God is not there. It simply means you are a foolish person. Trying to see God as an object, trying to see God with the inert matter equipments is as foolish as trying to see a lamp with a pot. It is the lamp which illumines the pot. It is not the pot which illumines the lamp.